what's the story of this tournament right now? What do you consider as the story of this tournament right now?
Shaheen Holloway and the St. Peter's Peacocks. A run, I think, that you can say when you split the atom, Rich, might be more impressive than UMBC beating Virginia in 2018. When you look at that upset for UMBC, DeAndre Hunter, who was an integral part of Virginia winning a national championship in 2019, was unavailable to play during that run because of an injury. You look at St. Peter's and the limited resources that this program has, being in the heart of Jersey City, being undermanned. Rich, I remember when St. Peter's last went to the NCAA Tournament in 2011, they had 2 full-time assistants, and the third assistant was only able to take the job because he had a pension from the United States Air Force. And for that team to go toe-to-toe with Kentucky and then beat Murray State, a team that won 30 games from wire to wire in the round of 32, this, to me, is one of the more miraculous runs that we've seen in the history of the greatest event in sports.
So then the question is, though, is how much further do you think they can go? That's the magic question, right?
Well, I think obviously every game that we see them win will be a surprise from here on out. I think the one thing that, you obviously have to evaluate when you see a team from a mid-major level is how are they going to match up with guys who have certain size on the front line. Kentucky obviously had Oscar Tshiebwe, but the size and the girth of Purdue up front with Zach Edey and Travion Williams, I believe, will be the end of the line this week in Philadelphia.
Okay. So then which team do you think is a low seed has the best chance to go on a more magical run than the one that St. Peter's is on right now?
Miami, because of guard play. And, Rich, this is our first time chatting, but, since
yes,
we're going to, empty the bucket right now, I am a big, big Rocky fan. And you remember in Rocky 3, when Apollo Creed talked to Rocky after he lost to Clubber Lang, he said the way to get it back is to go back to the beginning. When Jim Larrañaga first built Miami's program, he built the program based on getting transfers, sitting them out, redshirting them, and being older than everybody else. Miami, after it had some success, dabbled in with elite high school players, guys like Lonnie Walker, Bruce Brown. Obviously, they've done a really, really good job as well, with guys who are on the team right now from the high school front, like Isaiah Wong. But the makeup of this team with Charlie Moore, with Cam McGusty, is about experience and age. Miami, Rich, starts 3 50-year seniors, a lot like Apollo Creed at the Rockies. The way to get it back is to go back to the beginning.
Look at you, man. I like it. Can you lace the rest of your commentary in the few minutes I have left with you here with every other Rocky film too, John? Can you do something like that?
If you want to extend it, until the games start on Thursday, I can come back tomorrow and Wednesday. You know what I mean? Well, we can get together.
No, I know. Well, I guess we should stick with Philadelphia then. Villanova against my alma mater, Michigan. Is Villanova or Duke? Or, because now Auburn's already out and St. Peter's took care of the other 2 seed. Which 2 seed do you think's got a better chance, Duke or Villanova, to go on a run here?
They both have equally difficult tasks, and I picked Arizona and Gonzaga to meet in the national championship game. But I'll say this, Rich, when you look at this NCAA tournament from 30,000 feet, it's the polar opposite of last year's tournament. Last year, we knew from the start that there were 2 teams better than everybody else. Baylor on one side, Gonzaga on the other side. Look right now at the level of separation and how minimal it is between teams in this tournament. The 1 seed, Baylor's out. They lost to North Carolina. Kansas took on a Creighton team that didn't have Ryan Kalkbrenner, its best shot blocker, and didn't have Ryan Nembhard, the Big East Freshman of the Year, who was lost for the season a couple of years ago with a wrist injury, and it was in a possession game against Creighton. Then you look at Arizona. They limp out of the game against TCU, which was the game of the tournament so far, thanks to the greatness and the unbelievable shot-making ability of Ben Mathurin, a player in this tournament who I thought before the game started would explode like a volcano in the NCAA tournament. Rich, last night we started to feel the lava, and Gonzaga was able to come back against Memphis in the round of 32. Those are your 4 number 1 seeds. It wouldn't shock me if we see less than 3 of them reach the Final Four coming up in New Orleans.
Give me the team that can actually crack the national championship game. I know you said Miami could go on a run, and you think that it's going to be Arizona and Gonzaga, but give me one that you think can actually crash it, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that this has been a Final Four or bust type season all year for Purdue. And I think when you look at the chemical makeup of this Purdue team and the bracket that has opened up for them in the East region, you have the 1 seed Baylor out. You have the Kentucky seed, the Kentucky team that was the number 2 seed. They're out of the bracket. Right now, things are aligned for Baylor to get to for Purdue to get to the first time, for Purdue to get to the Final Four for the first time since 1980. But I also look on the bottom right of your bracket, and I see the region of vulnerability. Kansas isn't vintage Kansas. We have a 10 and an 11 going against each other in Miami and Iowa State. And then you have a Providence team that is in the second week of the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1997, when Providence had the ball at the end of regulation against the eventual national champion Arizona Wildcats under Pete Gillen and lost the game in overtime. So I look at that bottom right as being the region of vulnerability. I still believe, obviously, in Arizona and Gonzaga. And then, you look at the makeup of that bottom left region. You got 2 great brands going against each other in North Carolina and UCLA. And then you've got your traditional David versus Goliath showdown, Purdue against St. Peter's in Philadelphia. The door is open for Purdue right now, again, to get to the Final Four for the first time since 1980. Matt Painter has been back several times during his career in West Lafayette. This is his best chance to get there.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.